Hey YouTube, it's Matt Sherwood. Thanks for stopping by my channel. This is the Public Speaking Real Talk playlist. My goal is to help you get better at public speaking. I'm going to share tips and techniques and knowledge that I've learned about presenting, and hopefully you get some value out of this. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. I promise you, every week I'm going to add more videos. So if you want, also just leave a comment. Let me know what you want to hear about. Let me know. I'm all ears. So in this video today, I'm going to focus on a very simple technique that will allow you to write a speech in 5 minutes. That's right, 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Now this technique was taught to me by my mentor, my first mentor in Toastmasters many years ago, the late Peter Bunce. So I can't take full credit for this, but the formula is fantastic and I still use it to this day. Now I don't use the exact formula for one reason. So it involves a piece of paper. Now I don't want to kill trees. I want to be as environmentally friendly as possible, so I'm trying not to use paper. I'm basically paperless. In fact, it took me a little while to even find a piece of paper in my apartment now. So you can do this on your laptop. You can do this in any word editing program. Take that piece of paper, fold it once. Take that piece of paper, fold it again. Okay? So now you've got 4 quadrants. A piece of paper folded twice, 4 quadrants. In the upper left corner, you're going to write the topic of your speech and the purpose. So the topic should be very simple, probably one word, and the purpose should be about 1 sentence, and I'll cover that in more detail. On the left here, on the right, top right quadrant, you're going to write your introduction. Your introduction should be only a few sentences. It should be very short, very impactful, and you're going to write that out completely and memorize it because it's one of the most important parts of any speech. Lower left is the body of your speech, and this should simply be an outline, bullet points. I highly recommend the number 3. Humans digest information in 3 really well. 3 is the magic number, and I'll get into that a little bit more. And then in the lower right, you might have guessed it, if this one is the introduction, and then the body, what's the next one? Your conclusion. Your conclusion should, similar to the introduction, be only a few sentences. It should be very dynamic, very impactful, very memorable, and you should leave them with some sort of call to action. Okay, so that is the simple structure. If you are somewhere and you have a speech idea and you want to jot it down really quick, you can take a piece of paper, fold it in 4 quadrants, and simply craft a speech just like that in a very short amount of time. 5 minutes. So let's get into a little more detail about this. Now, your topic, let's start. I've already written out a little example here. And for the example, I'm going to choose the topic of the environment. I've heard a lot of speeches lately in the last few years, at least 3 to 5 years, about the environment. And I think it's a very important topic. It's very relevant. And I'll probably do another video about how to find a speech topic, what to talk about. But one of the things I recommend is to follow your heart. Talk about something that you're passionate about, or talk about something that you are an expert on. Talk about something in your field. Or talk about something that's relevant, something that's in the news, something that is topical. Or talk about something that you have a strong opinion about. So, it could be something that you don't know a lot about, but really there's speech topics all around us every day in life. And there was actually a friend of mine that used to say, all you need to give a speech is to have an opinion. This was Cersei Denyer from District 52 in Toastmasters. Just have an opinion. That's all you need to deliver a speech. But I highly recommend talk about something you're passionate about. So I've got my topic here, the environment. Now the purpose. Before you start writing any speech or writing an outline or thinking about your introduction, you should identify very clearly what is the main goal of your speech. What do you want the audience to get out of this? When they walk out of that room, what do you want them to do, think, feel, Are you compelling them or persuading them to buy something? Are you trying to motivate them to do something, to make a change? Are you simply entertaining them? Are you simply informing them? You should be able to summarize the goal of your speech in one sentence, one simple, concise sentence. So let's look at my purpose. To motivate the audience to be more environmentally friendly. Very simple. Okay? Now it's important to note here that your purpose should be very relevant to the audience. You should know who you're speaking to, and you should also be realistic about it. You're not going to teach your audience how to fix a motor of a car in a 10-minute presentation, right? So you have to be realistic about it. But I think motivating the audience to be more environmentally friendly, I think we can do that in this very short speech. So then we can move over to our introduction. Now, you could argue, and I would probably recommend that you actually outline the body of your speech first, but I've already done that, and so I'm gonna jump into the introduction. So the introduction should always be something that's very intriguing, attention-grabbing. It doesn't matter what event you're at or when you're speaking, you should always try to capture the audience's attention from the beginning. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can introduce a startling fact or statistic. You can ask a question, poll the audience. Hey, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys know anything about this? You can ask a rhetorical question. You can do something dramatic. You can show a prop. But the bottom line is you want to capture their attention and make sure that they're listening to you and they're awake. Make sure all eyes are on you. In this case, I'm going to throw out a startling statistic. Did you know that in almost every major city in the world, there was a study that showed 83% of tap water is contaminated with microplastics? That means that 83% of the people in this world are drinking and digesting plastic on a regular basis. We need to do something about this. So something like that is very attention-grabbing, it's crazy, it's startling, and you want to make sure that they are with you and you tell them why should you continue to listen to the rest of this speech. Okay, jumping over to the body of this speech. 3 is the magic number for a lot of different reasons, and I will jump into that in a different video. But for this, I've made 3 body points. The first, microplastic statistics. So I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on what I introduced in the introduction. So I'm going to talk about how this plastic gets into our drinking water. People throw it into the ocean, they throw it into the streams or in just trash in the streets, and it ends up in our system, it ends up in our pipes, and it ends up in our drinking water. It dissolves and ends up in our stomach. Right? So I'm going to give a little bit more information. The second part of the body of the speech is, what are the effects on humans? What does it mean, the fact that I'm drinking these little particles, as many pieces of plastic? What's that going to do to my body? What is it going to do to our bodies 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Our kids' bodies, what is it going to do to us? And then the third part is action. It's a call to action. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. The 3 R's. If you know anything about environmental speech or environmental techniques, environmentally friendly techniques, reduce, reuse, and recycle is a very common motto that people are talking about nowadays. And so that's really my call to action. So a good way to look at the body of this speech is the first part is the problem. The second part is the impact of the problem. What are the effects of this problem? And the third part is, what is the solution? Okay, so we've got, I think, a pretty good structure to this environmentally friendly speech. And then the conclusion. Again, you gotta leave them with something. Okay, the intro and conclusion are the most important part, because 6 months from now, The audience is not going to remember what you said in the third paragraph, in the second part of your speech, in the third line, and all the statistics and facts that you threw at them. Audiences don't remember all that info. So you have to leave them with something that is simple, dynamic, and memorable. Some of the best speeches I've ever seen in the world. I can still to this day tell you what the tagline was, what the intro looked like, and what the conclusion looked like. Okay? Now this, I'm going to leave them with a very, hopefully something that's emotionally triggering. I'm going to say something to the effect of, I don't want to eat any more plastic anymore. And I don't want my children or my children's children to have to deal with swallowing plastic into their bodies because we are too lazy and dirty to do something about it. We can all do something about it right now. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Our lives and our future depends on it. So something like that. There it is. There it is. What do you think? A little speech that I just crafted. And I promise you, I did this in about 5 minutes before this video. That's it. That's a simple technique. I highly recommend. Don't bother killing trees. Don't bother taking a piece of paper out. Use your laptop, right? Very clearly lay out what your topic is, what your purpose is, your intro, an outline for your body of your speech, and your conclusion. Write out your introduction, write out your conclusion, memorize them. They should be very impactful, very dynamic, very memorable, and that's all you need to come up with a killer speech in just about 5 minutes. Now it may take some time to practice it a little bit. It may take some time to write out a really dramatic intro and conclusion. But you can get the structure down for any speech in a very short amount of time. And now this, I want to just also clarify. This works not just for a traditional speech in the sense that someone's asked you to come give a keynote at a banquet, or someone's asked you to speak at a graduation ceremony. Most of us don't get invited to do that on a regular basis. But this method can work for something as simple as a status update in a team meeting at work, even a small meeting or a big all-staff meeting. It can work for a best man speech or a groomsman or bridesmaid speech. Really, any time you have to present, think about the structure of it. Okay, write yourself a little outline. Don't write the whole speech. Don't bother memorizing it. Have a really strong intro, a really strong conclusion, and don't forget, it all starts with the purpose of your speech. It should be very, very clear what your goal is and what you're trying to achieve. What do you think? You think this method can work for you? 5 minutes, you can write a speech. Thanks for watching. It's Matt Sherwood. This is Public Speaking Real Talk. My goal is to help you get better at public speaking. So if you like this video, if you found it valuable, please hit the like button. Please share it with your friends or whoever. And please subscribe to my channel. Every week I'm going to upload more videos, and my goal is to help you. I want to help as many people as I can, and so I'm just sharing the knowledge that I've learned and tips and techniques. If you want to hear about something specific, if you have questions or comments or critique, feel free to leave those in the comments or send me a message at itsmattsherwood@gmail.com. Thanks for stopping by.